Hey, lovelies. I wanted to do sharing with you that is about meditation drawing. Hey, lovelies. I wanted to talk today about what it's like to get creative with your human design chart. So, one of the things that I do is I work with people one-on-one and I allow them to draw certain areas of their chart. Sometimes they draw the whole chart, but often there's a piece of the chart that they might be particularly intrigued by, they might be curious about, they just want a different perspective on it. And so there are many ways of doing this. And my way of working is that I guide people through a meditation. I do some basic embodiment practices, and I really get people to tune into the energy of where that gate or channel or sequence of events are in the body. And then from there, I guide people through a creative exercise where they can then explore that creatively. So I wanted to show you an example of a session I did recently with a woman who actually had one channel only, and it was the 3420. And it was this channel of charisma, and it was unconscious. So obviously, with the channel being unconscious, she was not sure or she was uncertain about how it really felt sometimes. Sometimes it was very clear, sometimes not so much. So it was really an opportunity for her to tune into those energies within her from a more embodied place, but also from a more creative place. So what we do in creativity and drawing is we take something from inside of you and we express it out onto the page through drawing or whatever it is that we happen to be doing. And it's like you get it from the inside and you put it outside. And when you form like some form of like separation from it, when you can get it outside of yourself and see it in front of you, then it just gives you a different perspective. So my training would have been in art therapy, and a lot of art therapy is based around getting any unconscious or subconscious material out of yourself so you can express it. And traditional talk therapies would be about verbalizing this. And more arts-based therapies are based on using the image or the picture as a movement towards externalizing something and then getting that perspective. So I just want to share the image with you now. And it's important to note that I did get permission from this woman to do this. So as you can see, she very much, I would say she spent about 20, 30 minutes on this. And while she was drawing, and what often happens when we draw is we really just, ooh, we land, we kind of sit back into ourselves. And so it's less about this being kind of like an active process of thinking or talking, but it tends to be a little bit more of a receptive, a little bit more of a surrendering and allowing the energy. And so she was very much able to tune into that energy. And she used a lot of repetitive movement. She was continuously drawing this line, drawing this energy from the 34 up to the 20 over and over and over again. And that really allowed for kind of a deeper connection, a deeper awareness of how this energy would play out within her and then within her life. So as you can see, and I have the 3420 in my interactive chart. So I have a lot of 3420s in my life, a lot of them. And I have a lot of experience of seeing this energy. And even for people I don't know their charts, like there'll be I'll be sitting next to someone and they'll like get up really quickly. And I'll be like, oh, I wonder if they have that 3420. And there's a lot of, and there can be a lot of energy, a lot of movement in this channel. And I think that her drawing this really allowed her to tune into this. But we didn't necessarily have to talk about it or think about it while she was drawing. That wasn't the purpose. The purpose was to let go. And so obviously I couldn't see what she was drawing, but I could see what changed within her. Like a settling happened within her, which I found really interesting. And kind of like an ownership of it, an ownership of this energy, which was quite familiar to her, but felt intangible at times. And when we talked about it earlier, when we had spoken about it earlier, she talked about this intangibility. And through the repetition of strokes, she tuned in. And what we talked about it afterwards, and what she really spoke about was how rooted this energy actually felt, how it could be very expressive, it could be very upward and outward, but actually what she felt when she was connecting into it in a different way was how rooted it was. And I don't want to confuse that with the root energy or the root center in human design. It's not necessarily about doing that, but it is about recognizing that there can be this stability that feels more rooted, feels a little bit more dense, a little bit more weighted than perhaps a really lively, energetic movement. So she was really allowed to tune into that groundedness of her sacral response, the movement up, and then the expression. And I love the arms out and the real element of movement, which I tend to see a lot with the 3420, this real expression. But what was so lovely in her was to see that was coming from kind of like a secure place. I think that was kind of a way she put it. It came from somewhere solid. And I think that kind of gave her a little bit more confidence in knowing and feeling that 3420. And, you know, the big smile on the face of this character that she created, this element of herself. You know, often these energies that exist inside of us, they're like characters, and they all play out with each other. Kind of like, you know, the internal family systems, you know, some of that psychological stuff around these different aspects of ourselves. Sometimes I can see that energy playing out with each other. It's like this little, not a tension, but there is like this movement back and forth between that. And actually, I'll be posting next week about a really interesting video session that I did. I'll put it in the video about a woman with the defined heart and the defined solar plexus and the energy between that. That's next week. So I thought I'd share this with you. I think it's a lovely example of how you can visually create your representations of your channel, and how that can help you tune into and build a relationship with that channel. So yeah, even now I look at that and I smile and I recognize it, which I think is really good. And it also helped her to recognize this groundedness that she can find in her response, but also the expression of that. So if you have any interest in doing a one-on-one session around particular aspects of your chart, then I'll post a link below to my Human Design Self-Care page, which will show you how we could use drawing or creativity as a way of tuning in to the energies that you have within you, and how you can develop a different type of relationship to that. So if you liked what you see here, please like and subscribe, because what I'll do is I'll be showcasing more images of what I see with clients and how they are using creativity to tune in and to tap into various areas of their chart. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you again soon.